doubleheader here on ESPN as the Timberwolves face the Phoenix Suns. The Suns, Bob, they're 3-10 in the month of February here. What can they do to turn this around?
I don't have a good answer for that, Malika. I don't know what they can do to turn it around.
I do.
What?
I got an answer for it. The word is called pride.
Okay.
Self-pride at that, right? Like, are you going to go out sad, or are you going to pull together and say, you know what? This last stretch of games, we're only about 2.5 games out of the play-in tournament. We better than this. What we go do?
Look, guys.
Haven't they had that speech, though, already?
Well, have it again.
Bob, it's not about the speech.
Okay.
KD is playing at an all-world level. Devin Booker ain't shabby. They were dropping 26 a game. Maybe you just got to look at the collection of parts, and maybe you have to look at Budenholzer, who is an exceptional coach, was exceptional in Milwaukee, but is he getting through to a lot of these guys? I don't know the answer to that, but they're not looking good. So at some point in time, if I got two dudes on a basketball team that's giving me 26 plus and producing offensively, but somehow, somewhere we can't get it together, what am I supposed to look?
Well, I mean, damn, this 2 championship coaches that can't get through to this team. Vogel couldn't get through it. Get through to them.
Maybe the parts don't work. Maybe the parts don't work. Maybe the parts don't work.
It's certainly, well, if you want it, Booker and Durant, we can all agree. They're both, we saw them play on the Olympics, right? They were very good. These guys both started, right? Gold medal game, started the game, right? There's a lot of good players on that team. So we say Booker and Durant are doing what they're supposed to. So when you say maybe the roster isn't good enough, yeah,
maybe.
Right? Sure.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm looking at
what else?
And
what else
NBA
is it?
team can you look at and go like this? Well, I got somebody averaging 27 and another averaging 26, and I'm 6 games under 500.
Well, they are going to get the Timberwolves' best shot. Anthony Edwards back from suspension. Julius Randle giving it a go. Tip-off between the Suns and Timberwolves after this.
The NBA on ESPN is presented all season long by State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Presented by State Farm. Folks, we're in Phoenix on Taurasi Way. Now, the name Taurasi conjures up images of enshrinement, basketball excellence, championships. And as we come inside Phoenix Arena tonight, Kevin Durant of the Phoenix Suns, folks, is hoping about one final championship run in his already illustrious basketball career. As for Anthony Edwards, folks, he's got his team in the play-in picture, ready to take some pictures, but he'll be ready to strike a pose with the Larry O'Brien trophy if needed, you can bet. Hello, everybody. I'm Mark Jones courtside along with Corey Alexander. George Sedano joining us in just a bit. Thanks for coming aboard. Let's talk about the Minnesota Timberwolves, number 9 in the Western Conference. Anthony Edwards back after serving that 1-game suspension. That's the good news. Corey, there's even better news as Julius Randle returns after missing the entire month of February.
And Julius Randle takes some pressure off of Anthony Edwards. He's another playmaker for the Timberwolves, but more importantly, able to rebound the basketball, push it and get in tempo, allowing Ant to get a couple more easy buckets possibly in transition.
Randle was playing some of his best basketball before being injured. Meanwhile, hey, Kevin Durant remains one of the most unimpeachable, immutable scorers in the game. And, Corey, he's part of a huge, towering front line now.
He absolutely is. Moving back to his natural small forward position with Bol being in the lineup. And I think we see a big performance from KD here tonight, understanding the stakes in front of his team.
Let's take a look at tonight's starting lineups delivered by Taco Bell. For the visitors, Mike Conley and Anthony Edwards in the backcourt. Jaden McDaniels playing some good basketball right now. Julius Randle back for the first time in a month. Naz Reid has been on a heater as well. As for the Phoenix Suns, the good news for them is that Bradley Beal is back in the starting lineup. After missing 2 straight games with a calf injury, he's joined by Devin Booker in the backcourt. Kevin Durant, Bol has been a big story figuratively and literally for the Phoenix Suns, and Nick Richards at the 5 spot for the Phoenix Suns as well. These teams battling to improve their positions with, well, 6 weeks to go in the NBA's regular season. Minnesota controls. Here's McDaniels over to Randle. Dribble handoff to Edwards. 15 feet away, straight ahead, nothing but net.
I love that from Ant-Man, getting to the mid-range, taking that one in comparison to shooting a 3 on the first possession. Seeing it go through often builds confidence for the remainder of the game.
Here's Booker off the Iverson cut. Last game against New Orleans, they went to Kevin Durant to get him going early offensively. They clear out the side for him here against McDaniels, a lengthy defender, and they get the miss. It's going to be a nice matchup to watch, Corey.
Great matchup. We saw that in the playoffs a season ago where the Timberwolves were able to sweep the Suns. McDaniels making a name for himself on the defensive end.
Edwards relocates to the corner on the 3. Good closeout by Beal. Shot clock down to 5 for Edwards. Got to get to work. Playing with his food in the corner and rebounded by Durant. Kevin Durant coming off a game where he had 17 against New Orleans, a very efficient 7 of 10. Here's Bol, who's been shooting it well for Phoenix. The last 3 games averaging 21 per. Edwards had the ball knocked loose by his favorite player to watch, Kevin Durant.
Love the relationship between these two guys. As competitors, as we see Devin Booker get to the bucket with the easy one. But even pregame, you see, of course, KD and Ant still have their handshake, teammates this summer. And, of course, happy to see each other walking on the court.
Edwards telling me they often communicate by text. Part of that Olympic team text chain that they still maintain, Corey. Nobody, not just anyone gets in that group. Booker, part of that text chain as well. Connects from deep.
And a great start for Book. 5 points for him already. And transition threes, you always have to crowd him, take away his space, because he's one of the best walking right into a good look.
Pocket pass to Randall, bounced right to Reed. He pulls the 3, and it's 1 and done for the Timberwolves. Booker into the front court. Off to a good start. Richards with a catch, Bull with a nice dive. Great cut.
But look at the size advantage. You mentioned it in our pregame. It's 21 feet along that front line of the Phoenix Suns. You're talking about 3 7-footers. KD listed at 6'11", but probably closer to 7 feet.
Edwards left that 3 ball short. Only Malik Beasley has made more threes than Edwards this year. Durant all the way to the cup. And Phoenix out of the gate quickly, which pleases their head coach, Mike Budenholzer. He said that was the one big takeaway that he had against New Orleans a couple of nights ago. Conley out to Randall. Working against Booker, not giving up much ground, if at all. Conley pulls, and Beal with the rebound. So Minnesota starts 0 for 5 from downtown.
The Brad Beal back in the starting lineup as Bobo's let one go. But when you think about Brad, he's been through a lot of different changes throughout this year in different roles, but shooting 50% from the field, Jonesy.
Yeah, doing a nice job in getting the start tonight. He came off the bench a little bit earlier. Conley from the corner, and they connect for the first time in 6 attempts from deep.
But defensive miscommunication there. Brad Beal was actually guarding Naz Reid as he cleared the area. Brad's pointing for someone else to pick him up. No one identifying Conley in the corner.
Pocket pass to Durant. Whistle and a foul going to go against McDaniels, and that looks like it might be 3 free throws.
But you see defensively the miscommunication. Brad Beal in the corner. As Naz Reid vacates, he's pointing for someone else to pick him up. No one identifying as Brad has to try to get all the way over to take away Conley, who, of course, is going to knock that down in the corner.
That, my friend, was a super long closeout. Kevin Durant at the free throw line, shooting 83% from the stripe on the season. And once again, the future Hall of Famer putting up pristine numbers across the board. 53% from the field, 40% from downtown, and 83% from the foul line. Well, it's time for tonight's national TV schedule, brought to you by ESPN Bet, the official sports book of ESPN. Tomorrow night on NBA TV, Rockets against the Thunder at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Tuesday on TNT, it's Warriors Knicks, followed by Clippers Suns. For more on these games, please go to NBA.com or visit the NBA app. The Thunder with a win you saw a moment ago on ESPN. Big night for Jalen Williams. J-Dub as Randall spins and misfires. Richards got hit in the face.
Yeah, 4 on 5 offensively. So you're going to see in the timeout from Bud, As Richards took the hit, guarding Julius Randle on the way to the basket.
There were appendages and arms flailing. Might have gotten hit with a stray. We'll be right back.
Phoenix Suns up 6. You see here the Suns center Nick Richards took a shot in the face by Julius Randle. Walked off the court on his own power with a towel over his right eye. We'll have an update on Richards momentarily. Speaking of Randle, though, Randle is back for the Minnesota Timberwolves starting tonight. He missed the last 13 games. The T-Wolves were 5-8 in those 13 games. They had played very well with him in the lineup prior to that. They were 10-4 in the previous 14. When I spoke to Chris Finch, their head coach, he talked about having a point forward out there again with Julius Randle, a guy who can collapse the defense and certainly play make outside of Anthony Edwards. They have that in him, certainly allowing them to be able to kind of flow their offense a bit better. And look, he's got to be licking his chops certainly against the Suns, because career-wise, he's averaging 28 points a game. In his most recent game before the injury on January 29th, he had 28, 7, and 6, Jonesy, against this Suns squad.
Oh, wow. That means he's on the first bus, not the third bus, right, Corey?
Exactly, first bus. But look at that, Jonesy. We talked about in the pregame. Kevin Durant defensively is one of the tops, if not the best in the NBA this year, opposing and contesting shots. Does a great job there defensively, blocking shots, moving his feet. And of course, he's going up against Naz Reid, who is difficult to deal with, but KD still standing the test of time. This young man is 36 years old. He's still playing at a very, very high level, one of the best that we've seen do it.
All NBA, certainly. On the kick out, Bol drives the closeout. Plumlee, one more to KD, wide open. Usually lethal, off the mark that time, and here's McDaniel. Jaden McDaniels into the front court to Edwards. Edwards got his feet underneath him. That one a little bit strong. He was in the gym here early at 9 a.m. Booker leaks out for the room service.
And the kick ahead by KD, keeping his head up, recognizing, seeing Book, allows him to get an early one in transition. And of course, if you're the Phoenix Suns, you want to pick up the pace and force the Timberwolves to have to chase you.
Randle rips through, draws the foul, and will go to the line for a couple of shots. What does it do for the Suns when Devin Booker gets off to this kind of quick start for them?
Well, we've all seen Devin Booker, and no pun intended, get super hot here in the desert.
Right.
But when you think about seeing him get off to an early start, these are the times where you'll see Book get off to an 18-point quarter, a 20-point quarter, and end up with a 40-point game, something like that. So going up against Anthony Edwards, of course, another elite. We'll call them shooting guards for now, but they're really more like combos. You want to have that fast start, making sure that Ant has to chase you throughout the rest of the night.
Make him work at the defensive end. Anthony Edwards, a very good defender. Of course, he carries a very heavy load at both ends of the floor. Randle, meanwhile, at the free throw line, second of 2 on the way. Randle playing for the first time in over a month, knocks down the second foul shot. 81% from the line this year, 15-7, just underway here as we approach the midway point of the first quarter. Booker, Nickeil Alexander-Walker checked into the game for Minnesota during the break. Durant left that one short. Bol with the offensive board. Plumlee, shot clock down to 3. Somebody's got to pull. Durant will and does.
How about the look from Ant? Right after Durant knocks it down, Ant just looking back at him like, you know, okay, you still my favorite player, but I don't appreciate what you did.
Those two had some great conversations and interactions during not just the Olympics, but prior to that in the first round of the playoffs last year when the Timberwolves sent Phoenix home in 4 consecutive games. Beal working against Alexander Walker. Bol. Book one more to Durant. Wonderful ball movement. Booker, cash out.
You see Devin Booker stepping back now, already in double figures in this game. We haven't even played 7 minutes, but it got off to getting the layup early, starting his confidence from the start of the game.
Randle with an uncontested 3 hits it. And Minnesota back to within 9.
And that's another area where the Timberwolves are going to absolutely need Julius Randle to be able to space the floor, allowing Ant to have those driving lanes. Of course, we know Ant sees more double teams than anyone in the league.
Into the corner, Beal. Good closeout by Edwards. Durant with a lethal jab step, and Plumlee finishes the work.
But it's not just Durant scoring, it's playmaking as well. He draws 2 defenders, which is the ultimate compliment. When 2 guys have to guard you, that's what you want at the NBA level.
Nas Reed with the 3. That one comes off to Bull. Always a good sign whenever Phoenix can get its own defensive rebounds. A logo 3 by Booker, a heat check. Can't really fault him. He's off to a great start.
No one in the building minds that when Devin Booker is feeling good about things and just runs down and takes a low heat check 3.
And this Phoenix team, keep in mind, is amongst the squads that take more mid-range jump shots than most teams in the NBA.
Well, you've got 3 elite mid-range players. You talk about Kevin Durant, who could be the best of all time. Devin Booker and Brad Beal, all those guys have made their names in the mid-range. Of course, elite three-point shooters as well, but they're able to attack off the bounce.
Off the flare, DiVincenzo, who just checked into the ball game, as did Tyus Jones, who at times this year has been a starting point guard. Plumlee couldn't get to the pass. Good interception by DiVincenzo. Reed back out to Edwards. One more. DiVincenzo with a 10 a.m. shoot-around 3. And it's now an 8-point game. DiVincenzo returned on Thursday against the Los Angeles Lakers after missing a bunch of games with a turf toe. Well, his toes are moving well. Came up with a steal.
Yeah, back-to-back steals and back-to-back threes for Donte DiVincenzo, making his presence felt as soon as he checks into the game. And you talk about that 10:30 a.m. shooting. You were over here shooting with him at 10 a.m., weren't you, Jonesy?
Yeah, I had a chance to visit with him this morning at 9 a.m. He was the first one off the bus as the team had optional shoot-around. Ant looking for the lob. He got the bounce dime instead and punched it home. Looking for a foul call. I'm not starting anything, Corey.
Don't start it, Jonesy. Don't start it. And, of course, Ant will finish it anytime he gets an opportunity at the rim.
Welcome back, everyone, to Phoenix Arena. The Timberwolves in the midst of an 8-0 run right now. And Donte DiVincenzo has been the catalyst of that run with a couple of steals at the defensive end.
And on the flip side, the Phoenix Suns 7 assists on their 9 made field goals. So sharing the basketball well when they get shots, but too many turnovers on their last few possessions, allowing the Timberwolves to turn those into transition points.
Edwards switches on to Durant. DiVincenzo got over the screen. Jones off the skip pass to the corner. O'Neal couldn't find the handle, and that's going to be a 24-second shot clock violation. So Minnesota's defense, which, remember, folks, is ranked top 10. It's number 6 in defensive rating, gets a good stop.
But down from first last year,
yes.
And that's a difference. And part of the reason for that is because Anthony Edwards and Jaden McDaniels both being asked to do much more on the offensive end with no Karl-Anthony Towns.
And speaking of doing work at the offensive end, Edwards now with 8.
But what I love about that, he didn't have to create that offense. Just coming off a simple curl and able to get to the mid-range, knock down the second mid-range jumper of the game.
Timberwolves in the midst of a 10-0 sprint. Jones stops the hemorrhaging for Phoenix.
Tyus Jones played multiple roles as well for this Phoenix Suns team. Coach Budenholzer telling us that he thinks he can settle the second group and allow those guys to get in the right spots, help them be successful, especially on the offensive end.
Reed misfiring on that hook shot. Here's Jones, who historically habitually leads in assist-to-turnover ratio. Durant missed an easy one at the rim. And here's Edwards in transition. Surveys to DiVincenzo. One more to Shannon, who's been a great jolt of energy off the bench for Minnesota. Grayson Allen into the corner. Nickeil Alexander-Walker picked up Jones. Here's Durant. They run a double team at him that time. Timberwolves in rotation defensively, and Allen makes them pay.
But that's the advantage of having a Kevin Durant who has seen every possible defense. He sees the double team coming, gets it out, and it ends up being a wide open 3 for Grayson Allen.
Hey, good job. That's the way to fight and fly around, right? Yeah. I think we could do two things. We could be a little busier on the glass down there. They don't box out, okay? Especially those corner crashers. Go get me some offensive rebounds. Yeah, the other thing is they're not heavy in the gap, so we can go downhill.
Interesting that he would point out the lack of defensive rebounding, which has been the bane of the Suns' existence at times this year.
It absolutely has. When you look at the season numbers on the Phoenix Suns, they are a negative 300 in offensive rebounding. So when you can, forgive me, 190 in offensive rebound, negative 300 in field goal attempts. And that's been one of the areas of concern. They're getting 5 less field goal attempts per game than their opponents.
Got to finish off those possessions at the defensive end. Here's Tyus Jones bringing it up against Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Randall, meanwhile, with his second field goal at the other end. Grayson Allen left that 3 short. And here's Edwards. Edwards back on the court after missing that Utah game a couple of nights ago. And that's going to be an offensive foul against Julius Randle.
And I saw that one coming, and I was about to say, they have to call a foul on that. Julius Randle comes up and immediately just grabs Kevin Durant. No chance for KD to get over that screen, but great job by the officials seeing that one early.
Here's Royce O'Neal. Terrence Shannon Jr. guarding him. Inside to Plumlee. Had it knocked away by Alexander Walker. Randall lost it, retained it, and laid it home.
You know, as we watch some contact happening, I want to give a shout out to the officials, as well as, of course, Adam Silver and Joe Dumars. Our game has become much more physical. If you look back to a year ago when we had guys scoring 70 and 65 in a week, I like the way the game is being officiated now in comparison to what we saw even a year ago, allowing a little contact, a little more contact, and the game to be a little more physical.
That midi by Kevin Durant might be the most lethal shot in basketball still to this day, Corey.
And when you think a mid-range, you got to talk, of course, Carmelo Anthony. You talk KD. You got to think Bernard King. You go back to so many of the best who were able to score in the mid-range.
Yeah. Kevin Durant, number 2 in the NBA in mid-range jumpers made this year. Sideline out of bounds, Minnesota basketball.
Did I leave out the greatest player of all time that ever, you know?
I was going to bring him up, but we already know.
Michael Jeffrey was pretty good in the mid-range as well.
Durant at 53% overall from the field to Edwards out top. 3-second difference between the shot and game clock. The Olympic teammates one-on-one right here.
But look at all the help.
Alexander Walker drives it inside. Randall with 11 points now. Well, showing no ill effects from that injury.
But we heard Chris Finch talk about they're not in the gaps. We can find our spots.
And Tyus Jones knocks down the 3 with 0.1 to go. And that's the end of the first 12 minutes of play. The Phoenix Suns with back-to-back strong, prolific first quarters. They put up 34 in the first quarter in this one. Booker led the way with 10 for the Suns when we come back.
They jumped on you early. You guys got it within 6. How did you narrow the gap?
Got a few stops in a row. We know we can run this team, so we was able to get in transition and get some easy buckets. We missed open early shots easy. I mean, you know what I'm saying. I'm tired. But, yeah, we missed open shots, easy shots early, and then I think just the stops, getting in transition, getting some easy looks, seeing the ball go through, helped us get in the rhythm.
We know you're tired because it's your first game back after 13 that you missed. You got 11 points, though. It seems like you're looking good out there.
Yeah, it ain't nothing like the first one, man. Just trying to catch my rhythm. We just got to get stops on this end. 34 points, too much. I got to be better. We all got to be better.
Julius, good luck. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, Jonesy, back to you.
Hey, Julius's interview game a little rusty.
Hey,
Corey, George, right?
Jonesy, listen.
Forgive him.
Hey, nothing like game shape.
Yep.
It's completely different when you're out there running, trying to get in shape, but playing in games is a completely different level of conditioning.
11 points so far, 4 of 7 after that miss. Allen sprays it out to the wing. Jones pulls it out against Conley. Conley navigates that screen well. Ryan Dunn, the rookie out of Virginia, misfires. And it's one and done that time for the Suns.
And you would like to see right now the Suns try to feature Brad Beal on the offensive end of the floor. Make sure he gets his attempts. With no Devin Booker, with no Kevin Durant on the floor, this should be Brad's time to get going.
Allen back to Jones. There's the aforementioned Bradley Beal, knocks down the 3-ball, and they found him, Corey.
But you see how aggressive he is. Again, at times during his Phoenix career, he's thought about it. That time there's no indecision, catches and immediately ready to fire.
DiVincenzo, no hesitation, knocks down another 3-ball. You know, Dante DiVincenzo told me at shoot-around this morning, because of that turf toe injury that cost him several games, that his shoemaker now has a special plate in the bottom of that shoe which restricts the movement of the toe so that he can finish out the season and grab defensive rebounds like that.
Well, he's gotten off to a great start, knocking down threes. You got to close out a little closer on Dante DiVincenzo, not giving those opportunities. That airspace, already three-point field goals made for Dante in this game.
Allen, a little bit out of control, but drew the blocking foul. Let's get an update on Nick Richards from George.
Jonesy, Nick Richards is about to check in as you see him walking on the floor. A cheek laceration, but all good to go as he's back in this one, Jonesy.
They look like he's got some of that skin glue they use on boxers under his right cheek.
Yeah, and right now it looks a whole lot better. It's going to look tomorrow. Okay. Please believe. But again, you got some sensitive spots, of course, on your face where the bone is right under your skin and where he got hit.
Well, they turned it over that time. A 3-on-2 the other way. Shannon Jr. missed the layup. Ran the lane really hard, and he's been a big boost off the bench for the Timberwolves. Got a start a couple of games ago as well. Pocket pass to Dunn, the rookie inside. Richards had it knocked away, but he draws the foul on Nickeil Alexander-Walker. And Richards will go to the free throw line for a couple of shots.
The Suns have been sharing the basketball extremely well. Their playmakers are getting in the paint, dropping it off, giving their bigs opportunities to finish at the rim or get to the free throw line.
Richards coming off an impressive game against New Orleans a couple of nights ago. 19 points, 12 rebounds, a couple of dimes. And folks, in honor of our Hispanic fans, the NBA continues its celebration of Noches NBA throughout the month of March. Teams across the league have been recognizing this initiative all season long and will continue to highlight it this month with specially designed warm-up shirts and in-arena festivities.
Respect to you, Espanol. I know you spent some time in Miami. You and George both. Of course, I lived in San Antonio for 4 years, so
George, come on, man.
Knows about cafecito, and pastelitos. That man can enunciate and roll his R's.
Thank you. Thanks, George. I didn't want to have to brag on myself when it comes to Espanol.
Hey, that's why everybody got to have a too big MC. You know what I'm saying? George was right there on point.
Tiene usted un cafecito, por favor. Huh? That's how I start my days.
Okay.
Beal bottled up. Booker couldn't finish, and here comes Alexander Walker. Nice outlet to Randall. He finds Shannon on the cut, and a good block by Dunn. Boy, that's what Dunn brings to the court, but he landed hard.
We got two rookies meeting at the summit. Terrence Shannon Jr. going in against Ryan Dunn. Dunn, who led the ACC in blocks a season ago, coming up with a big one there. Taking the worst of it on the fall.
Well, he impressed the team early with his three-point shooting after not really shooting or making many at Virginia.
Well, that was the biggest question I got in the preseason as well as to start the season is what happened to Ryan Dunn? Why is it that he can all of a sudden shoot? And it wasn't that he couldn't shoot before. He didn't have the confidence to shoot when he was at Virginia. But when you get to this level, you don't have a choice. Either shoot it or don't play. And Ryan Dunn absolutely came in, integrated himself with this lineup. And, you know, one of the best things he did was he got to know KD early. And when you go compete with the best player, that is going to get you in favor. And KD kind of took him under his wing. And that's been part of the reason why Ryan Dunn has been successful. And you talk about leadership. That's leadership. Bringing the young guys along with you. I know KD gets much maligned about supposedly not being a leader. I'm not buying any of that. I've seen him lead. I know what type of leader he is.
Into the corner, Dunn. The three ball, a little bit strong that time, rebounded by Clark. Here's Naz Reid. Anthony Edwards getting a breather. DiVincenzo giving the team an early spark. Empty corner two-man game with Reid. Gets it back. float game comes off to Richards with the rebound.
That wasn't even a floater. That was a giant killer. Because you saw Nick Richards coming over to try to swap that one away. And you got to just throw it to the sky, get it over top of the giant.
Reed on Booker. Out to Beal. The catch and shoot three is short. And Reed with the rebound. Jaden McDaniels getting ready to check in for Chris Finch. Back out to DiVincenzo. Under 8 minutes to go in the first half. Conley cross court. Alexander Walker with the left that time. And no offensive rebound, even though Finch talked about them hitting that crash zone, right?
Well, and that's one of the areas where Phoenix has really cleaned up where their struggles have been. Taking care of their defensive glass and finishing defensive possession. Another block. Wow. Grayson Allen that time getting the job done in transition.
Suns defense holding Minnesota to just 38% from the field right now.
So this is my issue right here. Brad Beal has Naz Reid. Everybody get out the way. Let Brad go to work. You're talking about a guy who's had multiple seasons averaging over 30 points per game.
Wow.
They crowd his space. It ends up being a turnover on the offensive end.
Clark picked him up on the switch. Reed puts his head down, got to the rim, and drew the hit. And Naz Reid going to the free throw line with 6:51 to go in the opening half. Sometimes you just need a hand from a teammate. They're down 7. They need 1 or 2. The Zone brought to you by AutoZone. Corey, Booker has been automatic.
He absolutely has, and he got it started from beyond the three-point arc, knocking it down. But the Phoenix Suns 7 of 17 from 3. Brad Beal knocking down 1, and they are 3rd in the NBA in catch and shoot threes, which means that you've got to have guys making plays, cracking the paint, and then finding their teammates from beyond the arc. And when you look at the 41%, that's what they shoot on the season, which is 4th in the NBA. And you consider that this team is one of the better three-point shooting teams you're going to find, but they do it by sharing the basketball.
They've improved their volume of three-pointers this year under Mike Budenholzer as their first-year head coach. Naz Reid, meanwhile, at the free throw line for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards back in the ball game during the commercial break. Edwards 4 of 7 from the field. He has 8 points. Edwards back after serving that 1-game suspension. And he knows that he's got to be careful moving forward. That 3 good. That was Clark. Clark is down to 4.
Really given the Timberwolves great minutes, and then of course he does the job defensively, taking on the challenge of having to guard one of the best in the game, and Devin Booker. But you see the pressure he's applying 40 feet away from the basket.
Reed with a nice hedge. Beal on the pass. There's that mid-range game that is so lethal.
I didn't say it was only 2. It's not just Katie and Book.
Right.
There's another one. They've got 3 of the best mid-range players that our game has seen over the last decade.
Lead back to 6 for Phoenix. Suns looking for its 29th win of the season, coming in 11th in the West. Reed with good rim resistance that time with Nick Richards. Beal fills the lane, back out to Richards. And KD with a mismatch on the wing. KD walks him down. And good defense that time by the Timberwolves. Clark. The ball rolls out to Beal. 7 on the shot clock for Beal. And that one comes off the rim to Reed. Anthony Edwards crossed the midcourt line. He has 8. And that comes off.
Ant still yet to knock down a 3. And he's the best in the game and off the dribble threes. Hits 3 of those per game. And as you mentioned, behind Malik Beasley, for most threes, only 1 behind Beasley. However, Ant has led that category for the majority of the season.
Shooting well north of 40% on the season. And a great two-way player as well. Comes up with the steal. And Booker fouled him probably 2 times. But no complaints from Anthony Edwards. He told me, he said, Mark, I know that I can't do what I've been doing. I've got to be much better because the next other technical will be yet another 1-game suspension. And in speaking with him this morning, he really realizes that he can't leave his team out there. He examines himself, and that's part of the burgeoning leadership quotient that he's developing, Corey.
And we have to understand that when they lost to the Lakers on Thursday, they were 7th in the West. Without him, they go to lose at Utah. They immediately go to 9th. And of course, we know every game is so important for both of these teams for the remaining 6 weeks of the season, just to try to make sure they have a part in that play-in tournament if they can't get to 6th.
McDaniels picks up Booker on the switch. Bradley Beal has that rim out. And Edwards gets the call from Chris Finch from the sidelines. High ball screen from McDaniels. He flips it. Edwards snakes the screen, draws the contact, and will go to the free throw line for a couple of shots. A little bit more on Edwards. You know, I was having a great conversation with assistant coach Chris Hines, and he talked about his assiduous, fastidious work ethic, right? There was a one time last year, they like to get shots up when on the road like they are now. There was a point last year when they were looking for a gym. All the practice courts were closed. They looked around for about 40 minutes, finally ended up getting up shots in the basement of a church gym on a ceramic tile floor.
Isn't that where
That's going a long way.
Isn't that where we all learned how to shoot?
I'm like, really? He said, yep. It was an old gym with a 10-foot rim. That's all that counts.
Hey, that's all that matters. The fact that the rim is 10 feet tall, and sometimes that's not even the case. You can still get some work in without the rim actually being 10 feet. But, you know, we talk about Ant Edwards, and you talk about him and that desire to get better and improve as a player. Ant is a hooper.
Right.
Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, these are hoopers. These are guys who love the game. They play in the park.
Right.
They play with 16-year-olds. They play with old men. Doesn't matter.
Just pull up.
Just pull up and let's just go hoop.
Jones out top. Off the wide action. Booker inside. And draws the foul on McDaniels. And Devin Booker off to a great start in this ball game offensively. Minnesota with 5 team fouls. So Phoenix will be shooting the rest of the half. Booker at the free throw line. On the season, Devin Booker an 89%, let's call it 90% free throw shooter. Well, here's our NBA Saturday primetime game on ABC and ESPN+. The association's best rivalry. Luka and the Lakers begin a 4-game road trip in Boston against Jason Tatum and the Celtics. Ooh, that's spicy. Lakers Celtics. Coverage tips with NBA countdown at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific.
What's spicy is you saying Luka and the Lakers, and I know that's the way the promo was.
That's the way they wrote it for me.
But man, let me tell you what, to not say LeBron and the Lakers, that's saying something.
Hey, they wrote it for me, folks. Anthony Edwards writing his own story with a 3-ball.
But it only means more when KD's guarding him. Again, he's immediately going back to his bench, and then, of course, checking up, playing against KD on the other end of the floor. But it always means more to Ant when he gets to do it against his favorite player.
Booker off the flare. Good screen by Richards. Clark picks him up. Shannon got him. Clark played good defense. Richards fouled underneath by Naz Reid. And that's going to put Phoenix at the free throw line for a couple of shots. In the penalty since about the 4-minute mark.
But Phoenix doing the job on the offensive glass.
Right.
That's an area where they've struggled throughout this season, but yet they've had the advantage on the offensive glass throughout this game, giving them more opportunities. And when you look at just the numbers, believe it or not, they're still being outshot. However, they have more free throws than do the Wolves.
Richards, an 80% foul shooter, knocks down the first. Of course, we haven't mentioned the fact that Minnesota is still without its starting 5-man. Its center, Rudy Gobert, who's out with an injury still, doing his best to get back on the court. He realizes the immediacy and the urgency right now as teams have about, 20 games or so left in the regular season.
And Rudy's such a difference maker for them defensively, and not only from him being on the court, but most importantly, being that vocal defensive anchor behind the defense, pointing out to each and every one of his teammates where they need to be.
DiVincenzo knew that was off, chased after it. And here comes Tyus Jones. Randall on Jones. DiVincenzo goes under the screen. Shot clock all the way down to 5. Good defense so far. Durant at the nail against Edwards. A great matchup. And Edwards got the stop that time. Durant with a good look nonetheless. Edwards in transition. The stare down 3. And it rims out to Richards. Phoenix has misfired on 10 of its last 11 shots, but still lead by 5. 2.5 to go in the half. Bol slips the screen. One more to the O'Neal on the wing. Boy, that was halfway down and out.
It really was, and getting good looks, just unable to knock him down as Chris Finch wants to time out.
Timeout Timberwolves with 2:15 to go in the opening half. Anthony Edwards, one of the game's top 3-point shooters. So KD, we spent the summer together. I learned a lot from you. Something like that. Welcome back to NBA Sunday, presented by State Farm. Phoenix with the lead. What do you make of these numbers, Corey?
Well, when you see Phoenix with 16 points in the paint, that's not what they do. But they had the advantage there. But Minnesota was able to get back into this game in the first quarter by turning 7 Phoenix turnovers into 13 points off of those turnovers. And that's really the way they've been able to keep it close. Neither team shooting the basketball very well.
Speaking of turnovers, a 2-on-1 as the result of a Minnesota turnover. Jones with the lay. And the lead is back up to 7.
That's not normally the way that goes, is it? Normally the guard dropping it behind the back for the big man to come and dunk it?
2025 NBA style. Randall working against Plumlee. Got all the way to the iron and lays it home.
But one thing you've got to understand, and Mason Plumlee did it very well, but you know Julius Randle's going to get back to that left. I mean, that's the scouting report. That's been the case with him since he was playing for the Texas Titans in the Nike EYBL way back in the day. He's going to get to that left hand. And so when you're guarding him, you kind of have to stay heavy on that left. You force him to go to the basket. He's going to spin back. He's going to get to that left hand. Mason Plumlee needs to stay over on that side.
Back with the Titans, the scouting report, he goes left and more left.
There you go.
Kevin Durant. That one off the rim to McDaniels. A chance to get it down to 3 for Minnesota. Randall against Plumlee again. Into the corner this time. Randall does a nice job facilitating in transition. Naz Reid spins and pulls with the left. And O'Neal with the rebound. Jones cross court. Durant catch and shoot 3. O'Neal tipped it to himself. Back out to a wide open Booker. And Edwards with the rebound.
And what was such a great start for the Phoenix Suns on the offensive end of the floor. They've struggled in this second quarter shooting the basketball, especially when you get 2 greats with wide open looks, unable to knock them down.
Edwards will go to the free throw line. Hey, coming up on the halftime report presented by Hyundai. Luke and LeBron light up Los Angeles. Malika, Stephen A. Smith, Bob Myers, Kendrick Perkins, and Shams Charania in the studio. Lakers were pretty impressive the other night in the game that we did against the Los Angeles Clippers, Corey. And what do you make of the seamlessness or lack thereof with Luka working his way in?
Well, we saw Luka actually start to get going on the offensive end of the floor. The second half, he knocked down a couple of those pull-up threes, which he's tortured the Clippers with forever. But when you see what LeBron has done in sacrificing.
Right.
You and I were talking, and I go back to November 13th, our first game this year. Brown was playing the point.
Yeah.
He's averaging over 9 assists a game then. Now he's playing the 4. But he's showing that he's going to do whatever is necessary to help his team win and allow Luka to be more the playmaker. He'll play off the ball, but his numbers have still been great with Luka involved.
Like Malcolm said, by any means necessary.
It
LeBron
is.
Taking it to heart, and that's going to be an offensive foul against Durant on the illegal screen with 39.9 to go. Minnesota possession. That's going to be the second foul against Durant.
And you're looking at a 2-for-1 opportunity right here to see if Ant goes quickly.
Edwards with 15 in the game. Off the Randall screen, and another offensive foul on Julius Randle. That's the second time that he's been called on such offensive foul.
And again, when you're doing it in plain sight, The game has changed. It's not going to allow you just to go up and hit a man anymore. He's got 2 hands on Devin Booker, and Book recognized it. And Book actually goes down because Julius is on his foot. He actually was holding his left ankle coming up from that one.
Durant faked the backdoor cut, and Plumlee drew the foul from DiVincenzo, who was coming over. That's going to be his 2nd personal foul. Plumlee at the free throw line for Phoenix. Now the backup 5 tonight again, and every time you watch him take a free throw with his left hand, remember he's right-handed. It started when he suffered an injury to his right wrist in Charlotte. Then assistant coach Jay Triano on the Charlotte staff said, you know, you shoot the ball well with your left hand. Why don't you try shooting foul shots left-handed? And it's been that way ever since.
That's a polite way of saying you shoot better with your left hand than you do your right.
I'm trying to be positive, man. I tell good stories, Corey. Come on.
It's a great story. And I'm positive that's exactly what Jay Triano was saying.
He did. He made him a believer. Well, what do you make of what's happening at the 5 spot now with Richards being the starter and Nurkic long gone post-trade deadline?
I think Richards gives them more of what they need as a complement to Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal.
Okay.
Where Nurkic was an under-the-rim guy. He didn't go get rebounds above the square. He had the box out loud to come to him. So I think Nick is a much better fit for this lineup.
Dunn trying to stick Anthony Edwards out top. Edwards sets a legal screen that time. DiVincenzo for 3, butter.
DiVincenzo holds the follow-through in the direction of Ryan Dunn after knocking down the 3.
He's got 12 now in the ball game. Phoenix trying to get it inbound. Edwards almost had a steal. 1 on the clock. Beal, they didn't pull in time. And time expires with Minnesota whittling that lead down to just 1 field goal. They trail by 2. DiVincenzo came in firing off the bench for Minnesota. He's got 12 in the ball game. Julius Randle back for the first time in a month with a good first half as well. Phoenix up by 2 at the half. First half analysis coming up on the Hyundai halftime report right after the break. State Farm from Phoenix Arena here in the middle of the desert. The home crew leading by 2, 51-49. Phoenix coming in number 11 seed in the Western Conference. Minnesota Timberwolves the number 9 seed. Both teams trying to make a move up. Mark Jones courtside along with Corey Alexander. George Sedano joining us in just a bit. This Phoenix team throughout the course of the year, their defense has been porous, but tonight, Corey, a different story for them.
It has been. They're playing as though there's a sense of urgency, recognizing there are 6 weeks left in the regular season. They want to get into the playoffs, would love to be in the 6th seed, but if not, get in that play-in where they're out of right now. And you can see the way they've approached this game, getting off to a great defensive start, turning defense into offense when they've gotten their opportunities. But you look at the 5 forced turnovers, the 3 steals, the 5 blocks, doing the job defensively, which they really haven't done much of this season.
All right, George Sedano has more. He had a word with Coach Finch. What did he say, George?
Jonesy, he liked what Corey was talking about, the turnovers generating offense for them, but he felt like their offense, particularly in the half court, they were challenged, to say the least. He didn't like the shot selection, particularly the shots early in the shot clock, and then he felt like they could do a much better job finishing at the rim, Jonesy.
All right, they shot just 38.6% in that opening half. They'll start the same 5. The Timberwolves will.
And this has always been interesting, especially when you have both Brad Beal and Devin Booker in the starting lineup. Who initiates the offense? And I think they base it upon who's guarding whom at that point. With Conley guarding Brad Beal, he's going to be the initiator.
Boy, good defense by Minnesota on their switching. Booker with a contested 3. Boy, when you're that talented offensively, it doesn't matter sometimes.
But you recognize, and I know you saw it, no dip in that one. He caught the basketball above his shoulders and is able to let that go and hit all bottoms without even having to bring it back down into his shooting pocket.
McDaniels in rhythm for 3 with an answer.
Even more difficult shooting over Bol. I can bet you that McDaniels had no idea where the basket was. He couldn't see anything.
Here's Durant off the screen. And it's 3 consecutive 3s in a row to start this 3rd quarter. Edwards sprints into the DHO. Cross court to Randle. That one comes off. We have a whistle and a foul. That might have been off ball. It was against Nick Richards. His second personal foul, first team foul of the third quarter. Richards did not have a field goal in that opening half, although he did have 4 free throws. Conley out front. Here's Randle. Going to try another three. If you just joined us, Julius Randle playing his first game in a month. He had missed the entire month of February. Booker, same spot, different result. Knocked out of bounds. It'll be Minnesota basketball.
The Bol going after an offensive rebound, and again, that's the type of effort Mike Budenholzer is looking to see from his team moving forward. Try to get more possessions where they struggled with that throughout the season.
Bol has 8 boards in the ball game. Edwards, now KD picks him up on the screen. Edwards with a step back contested three. Knocked one down on his man again.
And the smile looking directly at KD.
Good hands by Conley, got the deflection. They couldn't corral the loose ball. It'll stay Phoenix basketball. And I think I heard him whisper, too late.
Well, when you consider these guys, I'm sure did this a lot over the summer, just playing ones. And Ant really came back with a different, twist to his game.
Yeah.
The three-point shooting this year is not what he was doing in seasons past.
Beal on the drive, kicks it out to Bol for 3, and the torrent of three-point shots continues.
And Bol spaces the floor, allowing there to be more driving lanes. If you're going to help, especially off that ball side, he's going to be able to knock down that 3 in the corner.
Pocket pass to Randle, blocked by Richards. Out of bounds, it'll be Minnesota basketball. 5-point Phoenix lead. Good interior defense here.
Yeah, and the interior defense, a byproduct of this taller front line. We talk about 6'11", 7 foot, and 7'3" with Bol. That is a tall front line to have to go up against when you're driving into the painted area.
Edwards behind the three-point line, knocks down another one. He told me that in doing a lot of shooting competitions with Durant and Steph Curry this summer, he figured, hey, why not me? Why shouldn't I shoot more three-pointers? And Corey, not only is he shooting 40% on his 3 balls this year, he's doing it on a volume of about 10 per game.
Yeah, that's why I said that, because I was leading you into that. I knew you had a story for me. I was just waiting for you to be able to break it. But when you consider spending that type of time with the greatest players to ever play the game, that gives you a different level of work. Shows you what you have to do to be successful when you watch guys who've done it for so long.
Hey, let's take a look at the upcoming national TV schedule tomorrow night on NBA TV. Rockets at Thunder at 8 Eastern time. Tuesday on TNT, Warriors Knicks, followed by Clippers Suns. That starts at 7:30, then 10 o'clock. For more on these games, please go to NBA.com or visit the NBA app. Booker now with 17 in the game. That pass a little bit high and wide. The Phoenix basketball. Minnesota's turned it over 6 times now.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's one area where they really didn't struggle with. They didn't shoot well, but they got, their attempts up. It was Phoenix who struggled more with handling the basketball in the first half.
Booker out to Beal. Snakes the screen. Good contest by McDaniels. Bol with a dribble pull-up. Richards with another opportunity. Bol again. And Reed clears.
But you love the confidence that Bol's playing with. Again, earlier in his career, he would have never taken that shot. As Ant plays with tremendous confidence, knocking down a third three-point field goal here in this third quarter.
He is in rhythm, and he's knocked the lead down to a singular point for Phoenix. Scored the last 9 for the Timberwolves. Whistling a foul going to be called by Zach Zarba. That's going to go against Mike Conley. That's his 3rd team foul.
We missed Zach in the workout room earlier today, right?
Yeah, I think it was a little late today.
Yeah.
Zach keeps it together very well. I think he's on the podium in terms of our officials and workouts and routine.
Also, when it goes over to making announcements, we got to give him a lot of credit for that. He had an explanation in our game on Friday, taught both of us a couple things.
It was Bill Kennedy levels of
yes.
PA.
Yes.
Ball with a high arcing 3. Didn't draw iron, so on the shot clock violation, partner Minnesota with an opportunity to take the lead here. They haven't led since it was 2-0. And I would guess that Anthony Edwards would get a touch here, having made the last 3 threes in a row.
You know, we got a saying in this league, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And again, his jumper is not broke at all.
Drives it this time, sprays it out to Reed for 3. Good discernment by Edwards. He drew traffic.
That's a maturity play, a growth play as KD turns it over.
Edwards drives it, raises. Wow, he was looking to punch that.
I thought he was going, he saw his guy underneath there. I thought we were going to have another highlight, Jonesy.
See, they're still friends.
And, but you also see KD with a little swipe and get out the way. That's a business decision.
Yeah, Edwards has 11 quickly in this third quarter. He scored the last 11. Booker has time to line up the seams and missed the mark.
Maybe too much time for that one on Book. You start thinking about it when you've got that much time.
Anthony Edwards in rhythm, left that too short. Edwards very efficient tonight, 9 of 15 from the field. Durant. Randall on Durant with 11 on the shot clock. Durant with an off-balance twisting midi.
We saw him miss that one-legged. We won't even call it a step back. It's just a fall back. We saw him miss that early in the first half, and I was saying that's his shot. He normally makes those. That one a little more unorthodox than how he normally does it.
McDaniels in the corner, been shooting it well of late, and knocks down that short corner 3.
But Jones, as you'll remember, last year in the playoffs, he really became that third scorer for the Timberwolves, which allowed them to advance to the Western Conference Finals. And speaking of one of the best to ever do it,
tell me about this footwork, partner.
Hey, elite footwork from KD, and recognizing where he is at all times, squaring the shoulders is good.
ESPN Bet is the official sportsbook of ESPN. Get in on trending parlays, daily profit boost, and exclusive talent markets all season long. New customers can bet $10 to get $100 in bonus bets and 30 days of ESPN Plus. Scan the QR code to download the app today.
Refreshing finish brought to you by Heineken.
And Anthony Edwards about to take flight. However, Devin Booker with a handful of jersey there. And that's the reason why Ant didn't challenge his guy, KD, at the rim and take off and give us another one of those highlight dunks.
He tried to ground that flight before it took off.
But what I do like is that Ant, even though he put his arms up at the officials, nothing extracurricular, no words, just go on and continue to play. He understands the circumstances. Every other technical foul is going to get him a suspension. So right now, no text for Ant in this game, and he's being very mature about his conversations with the officials.
Just recently turned 23 years old. Beal sprays it out to Durant. Over Edwards and left it short. Here's DiVincenzo. Over to Randall. Backdoor cut by Edwards and draws the foul. Back to the free throw line. That's going to be the 3rd foul against Richards. And Anthony Edwards will go to the free throw line where he's a 84% free throw shooter. You know, we talked about his burgeoning leadership role on this team, and in a game earlier this year after getting drilled by Sacramento, he called his team front runners, including himself. And, you know, it really catalyzed a little bit of an attitude change amongst the Timberwolves. And it really demonstrated his leadership voice.
Well, he also showed his leadership voice in that last possession right there. As soon as he saw the shot didn't go off, but he was going to go to the free throw line, he sought out Julius Randle and made sure to say, hey, good pass, boy, to make sure he recognizes what Randle did on that possession. And again, as a leader, that's the thing. You want to empower your teammates to be confident in making plays so that you don't have to do everything.
Catch and shoot 3 by Beal is rock solid.
I love the way Brad has been decisive about his opportunities. There's no second guessing whether he should be taking shots, whatever it may be. He's been aggressive on the offensive end.
Another 3 on the way for Edwards. That one on the front rim. And here's Booker into the front court. Changes gears, sprays it out to Durant. One more to Beal. Booker got back in bounds just in time. And here come the Timberwolves off the turnover. Edwards runs to the corner. DiVincenzo finds him. Beal switches on to Edwards, pulls it out with 13 on the clock. Another 3 ball, and he draws the foul. And this might be 3 shots if he was still behind the line. So far tonight, Edwards 4 of 10 from deep. That foul is going to go against Bradley Beal. Let's take another look.
Bradley Beal a little more concerned about the screen on that one, but getting out on the shooting arm as he's pointing to the officials, talking about the screen. But absolutely contacted that right arm of Ant.
Edwards back at the free throw line, knocks down the first. Hey, here's our ESPN NBA Wednesday doubleheader. Eastern Conference leading Cavs hosting the Heat at 7 o'clock Eastern time. Then leaders of the Western Conference square off in Memphis. OKC taking on the Grizz. NBA Countdown tips off our coverage at 6:30 Eastern time.
We've already talked about my youngin over there, Ryan Dunn, the Virginia guy.
Right.
Now I got to brag on that combination of Virginia guys in Cleveland right now. Both Ty Jerome and DeAndre Hunter having huge performances today in a comeback for the Cavs, winning in overtime.
That Hunter acquisition at the trade deadline, that might be more than enough to get them over the top.
That's exactly what they needed. Someone that can go out and compete with the great wings that are in this NBA, and of course that Cleveland would absolutely have to play against to get to the NBA final.
Like in Boston.
I was going to say that, but you know, I knew you were already ready for it.
Beal driving on Reed. Couldn't get the layup to go. Minnesota with a little bit of pace into the front court. DiVincenzo finds the trailer Reed, who pulls. And it comes off to Richards. Booker over to Durant. Missed the layup, lost the handle, didn't get a call. And a foul is going to go against Booker and Phoenix. So a missed opportunity turns into a foul against Phoenix. That's going to be the 4th team foul.
Kevin Durant attacking the basket, going up. Is there contact? Hard to see from the angle if there's basketball or arm that Nickeil Alexander-Walker got on that one. Kevin does have a quick conversation with Zach Zarba. But when you talk about having leeway with the officials, Kevin, if he wants that, could have been much more demonstrative.
And as a result, too, we have a transition take foul, Corey, against Phoenix. Anthony Edwards now with 17 coming in the 3rd quarter, giving his team a 5-point lead. This on the heels of a loss in Utah a couple of nights ago, in which Edwards sat out, the result of a 1-game suspension because he traversed the 16 technical barrier. Durant on Edwards out front. Edwards sprays it to the corner. One more wide open DiVincenzo, and he rattles it home. Dante DiVincenzo with his 5th 3 off the bench, Corey.
Yeah, the defensive rotation not there. You cannot allow Dante DiVincenzo, who's shooting a hot basketball, to be able to have a wide open look as such.
Alexander Walker with the steal on the back tap. In transition, McDaniels with the easy one. And timeout, Mike Budenholzer and the Suns, who find themselves quickly in a 10-point deficit. What a third for Minnesota. Back after this. Welcome back, everyone, and one more look at that good offensive execution. But what about the defense, Corey?
Well, Brad Beal does his job. He gets out to the corner. However, you've got 2 future Hall of Famers watching Dante DiVincenzo, who's already made 4 threes prior to that one, shooting, as you mentioned earlier, a 10 a.m. shoot-around shot and knocks down his 5th 3 of the game.
See what the Suns run out of this timeout. Backdoor cut by Durant, knocked away by DiVincenzo.
And back-to-back turnovers for the Suns on this end. The last one resulted in a dunk. And now you've got the hottest guy on the floor playing one-on-one against Plumlee.
Ready to work out instead. A quick pull. DiVincenzo, hotter than fish grease tonight. That's his 6th 3-pointer.
Forgive me, that may be the hottest guy on the floor.
That ties a season high, partner, with his 6th 3. Boy, what a comeback he's made in the last couple of games. Coming off of that turf toe injury. Rebounded by Edwards off the Durant miss. Anthony Edwards in rhythm. Minnesota in the midst of a 12-0 run. There's the hot guy, DiVincenzo. You could feel the sigh of relief as that came off the rim by the arena here, which has gone deafeningly silent during this Minnesota run.
It really has. You're talking about Phoenix Arena, which was, hopping earlier when the Suns got off to such a great start on the offensive end, but cooled off in that second quarter, and then give the Timberwolves defense a tremendous amount of credit for what they've done here in the third to be able to build this double-digit lead.
McDaniels missing on the step-through move. Here's Royce O'Neal. Finds Booker on the baseline against DiVincenzo. O'Neal straightaway three. Boy, that was halfway down and out. McDaniels with that 7'1" wingspan won the rebounding battle that time against Plumlee. That's right, 7'1". He's listed at 6'9", but he has the wingspan of a pterodactyl, folks. Trust me. DiVincenzo is red hot and laser focused right now, Corey.
And only his second game back continues to shoot a hot basketball. Donte DiVincenzo got off to a great start doing it defensively, but turning that defense into offense. A couple of transition threes got him started, and he has not been able to be stopped ever since.
DiVincenzo came back against the Lakers from that turf toe injury a few games ago. That was back on Thursday after missing 16 games. But as I mentioned earlier, Anta, his shoemaker, put a special plate in the bottom of his shoe to prevent that turf toe injury from getting any worse.
Left foot or right foot?
Left.
He should be bouncing in off the 1 foot.
Hey, he got it on the good foot right now, as James Brown would have said. Randall on the baseline against Grayson Allen. One more unselfish passing by Minnesota. Alexander Walker couldn't finish.
Was it too unselfish? When you're shooting the basketball as well as DiVincenzo has, as he does the job defensively regardless.
2-on-1. Clark raised up, had it knocked away by Allen. And he took out his own man in the process, too.
Does that give the building some energy, especially if they're able to knock down a three?
And they couldn't, Corey. Plumlee with the offensive rebound. That's going to be a loose ball foul against Julius Randle.
Grayson Allen took the worst of that, grimacing at half court, but he did the job. This is the second transition block that he's had throughout this game, and I believe Clark may have just lost that one on the way up, but give Grayson Allen a lot of credit for getting in. He does get a hand on that basketball. That's a block.
Can't knock the hustle.
Block, yes.
Durant in the mid-post checks into the office. And a little light work against Anthony Edwards that time for the bucket.
And there's nothing you can do about that. I mean, you're talking about 6'11", can see over the top of pretty much any defender, and going off that one leg just throws you off rhythm trying to defend Kevin Durant.
Edwards against Plumlee. Sees two bodies, actually. Gets it back, and now he's got Jones on him. Anthony Edwards. And Minnesota with another opportunity. 90 seconds to go in the third. And this time, the defensive rebound comes to Jones. Allen had a notion. And Alexander Walker leads a 3-on-1. Wow. A blown opportunity after brilliant anticipation from your namesake.
Oh, that's what we're doing now? Oh, wait a minute. You were just talking about the two of you with the Canadian passport, and now it's my namesake.
Alexander Walker.
Absolutely. So he and his cousin Shea, of course, I always talk about them with the best name in the game. Two of my favorites to talk about.
Yeah. Alexander Walker and Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, cousins.
Believe it or not, I coached against both those guys.
Oh,
They
wow.
were at Hamilton Heights High School during their junior year of high school. I was at Oak Hill Academy coaching. By the way,
How did it work out? You got to finish the story.
yeah, we won. We won. Yeah, they went to work. Of course, I don't think there's ever been a game where Shea didn't score at least 30. But shout out to my young fella right here, my little brother Kevin Durant at the free throw line, who went into the Oak Hill Academy Hall of Fame.
Hey.
And let me throw myself in there, too. I went in with him. But he didn't graduate from Oak Hill. He graduated from Montrose Christian. He only spent his junior year at Oak Hill. But that tells you how good you got to be when you get inducted into the Hall of Fame of a school that you didn't even graduate from.
One and done as a junior.
Now, I think his legacy, you know, afterwards absolutely helped that, but he was still a bucket.
Yeah, because if you don't give him flowers, people let you know about it.
That's facts.
Under a minute to go in the third. In a prodigious third quarter for Anthony Edwards. On the drive, sprays it out to Reed. And Reed stepped out of bounds. See that happen so frequently. It's not like 94 by 50 feet isn't enough.
But normally when you catch in that corner, you got to be prepared to shoot the basketball.
Jones on the hezzy. And there's the teardrop good.
I like how you mentioned that teardrop. That was not a floater. You saw the flick of the wrist. See, I know you know this. No lazy reporting with my man Jones.
Pocket pass to Reed. One more on the short roll. Wrong guy to leave open. You don't need a GPS to find Dante DiVincenzo tonight, folks. He's the guy knocking down threes.
But Jonesy, someone behind me said, oh no. As soon as he caught the basketball with no one near him.
21 points on the meter for DiVincenzo on 7 of 11 from deep. Jones off the Durant screen. Into the corner. Allen pulls. O'Neal out to Durant. Got it off in time, but it's off the mark. And the Minnesota Timberwolves storm back big time here with a frenetic, furious rally in the third quarter, led by Anthony Edwards and Dante DiVincenzo with 32 and 21 respectively. Anthony Edwards right now with enough to feed the needy. And if not, DiVincenzo's got it. Back for the fourth after this.
Welcome back to NBA Sunday, presented by State Farm. We were Bradley Beal of the Suns. Brad, that quarter did not go your way. What were the challenges you guys faced there?
We just couldn't guard worth a damn. That's all it was. We got to be better on defense, make them uncomfortable. But we're turning the ball over, and we're not getting stops. So we can't not score and not get stops. We're kind of killing ourselves right now.
Edwards in particular has been flourishing tonight. You have that assignment on a number of opportunities. How do you try to slow him down?
It's a group effort. We all got to continue to make it tough for him. Obviously, he's a great player, but he's being aggressive. He's seeking out his matchups and pick and rolls, attacking us downhill. He's getting his feet set on threes. He's a 3-level scorer, so we got to take the ball out of his hand and make it tough for him.
Brad, good luck. Thank you so much.
Oh, man.
All right, guys, back to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Georgia. Anthony Edwards starting this quarter on the bench. At 9 o'clock this morning, Anthony Edwards and Dante DiVincenzo were the only two Minnesota players in the gym getting up shots, going through their form shooting, mid-range, finishes, side steps, left hand, right hand, threes from the wing, threes from the top. Watched it myself, Corey. It was amazing.
But that's being professional. Yep. That's the work. And we talked about Ant didn't play on Friday, so the first game back for him after serving that suspension. But the work is paid off. And what's also paid off for the Timberwolves is turning defense into offense. Brad talked about the turnovers. And in the third quarter, the Suns had 7 turnovers that led to 10 points for Minnesota. The first possession of the fourth, they turned it over. 3 more points off of turnovers for the Wolves. And again, you can't get back and win a game when you continue to give away opportunities.
Now it's Reed off the mark, and in all this, Reed having a subpar shooting night, just 1 of 11 from the field. It hasn't hurt Minnesota yet. Beal with the step back, got his own miss. Out to Allen for the long one. That one's a little bit strong. Loose ball, Dunn battling underneath, comes off to Beal. Short jumper, and this one cashes out.
And you hear from the crowd that effort. Ryan Dunn going after the offensive rebound. Brad Beal chasing down the offensive rebound, getting his miss back, and then putting it back in. That's all this crowd is really looking for, is that effort on the defensive end and offensively chasing offensive opportunities.
Clark from the corner off the mark. Loose ball. And we're going to have a whistle and a foul against Phoenix. As McDaniels comes into the ball game for Minnesota, Devin Booker comes in for Phoenix. Jones will sit down. That foul is going to go against Ryan Dunn, his first personal foul, first team foul of the fourth and final quarter. Minnesota coming into the ball game 9th seed in the Western Conference, trying to gain a little bit of ground on the Sacramento Kings, who are right now in 8th. They play against Dallas tomorrow. Reed inside, got that layup to go through the contact. He's up to 5.
Second chance points. They got to stop, but just unable to finish the defensive possession.
Got a whistle and a foul as Allen used that deceleration step well. And he'll go to the free throw line for a couple of shots. That's going to be the 5th personal on Mike Conley. Grayson Allen will have 2. An 82% foul shooter on the season for the Suns. Hey, here's our NBA Saturday primetime game on ABC and ESPN+. The association's best rivalry, Luka and the Lakers, begin a 4-game road trip in Boston against Jason Tatum and the Celtics. Coverage tips with NBA Countdown at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. And the Celtics with a very impressive win today. Pretty much a wire-to-wire job against the Denver Nuggets, albeit Denver was out Aaron Gordon. But Boston was without their big man, Kristaps Porzingis. And I continue to be amazed by the development of Jason Tatum and his discernment in being able to dissect defenses.
Well, and you know how I feel about Jason Tatum. I mean, he's one of the top players in the NBA as far as I'm concerned. But more importantly, they're also doing it without Drew Holiday. And that's a big miss. Like, you go back and you look at the loss to Cleveland. And again, Boston has built big leads. They built another big lead today and allowed the Nuggets to come back, but they were able to finish it off, similar to what happened with New York a week ago. But you still have to have a tremendous arsenal to build those leads against these good teams. And when they get Drew Holiday back to the fold, it will be much easier for them to finish those games.
Lakers Celtics next Saturday night primetime on ABC. McDaniels around the Randall screen. Slow step and one. McDaniels with some muscle in his hustle that time. And he's up to 10 now after that bucket.
McDaniel still continues to grow as an offensive player, more on his plate this season. With no Karl Anthony Towns, he's moved up a notch in their scouting report as far as their scoring goes, and having a career year scoring the basketball.
Playing a little bit more at the 4 spot this year, and words of their head coach Chris Finch. Allen turns the corner. Plumlee on the short roll out to Dunn. Good closeout by Reed. The ball moving, but not really going anywhere. Dunn with a contested 3 to end it all. Make some sense out of that for me, Corey.
Because Dunn passed up the first one.
Okay.
When Mason Plumlee attacked the basket, he turned, he threw it out to Dunn. You have to take that shot. Again, it's not an option. When your teammates make a play for you, you don't take advantage of it. That's a level of selfishness. Even though you're not trying to be, you have to take that look.
Randall out front had a big first quarter. His first game back in over a month. Reed whips it cross court. One more. Alexander Walker. And a great offensive rebound by Randall. Wonderful hustle by Randall.
I'll tell you what, a welcome sign for the Timberwolves to have Julius Randle back in the lineup, not only because of his scoring and playmaking, but effort plays as well.
What a dime drop inside. And Randall with the punch. Alexander Walker now. McDaniels with the jelly at the rim.
I was about to say, that is the good old-fashioned finger roll. Jaden McDaniels, look at the Timberwolves. This is the group that we saw a year ago that was extremely connected all the way to the Western Conference Finals, and finding some of that magic here today.
A frenzied flurry of buckets a moment ago. And it started with wonderful hustle from Julius Randle. Watch this offensive rebound. Never gave up on it. Kept it in play. And look at how it ends.
The nice drop off from Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Julius Randle with the dunk. And as he's celebrating, Jaden McDaniels, Johnny on the spot with the finger roll.
And this is what I love, Corey.
This is it.
Anthony Edwards was the first one off the bench, hugging up on his teammates. That was a portrait of joy, the type of happiness they played with a season ago.
But what you have to love most about it is Julius Randle in the mix of that. He's new as far as the success of this team. So when you think about it, him being involved in that makes it even more special for the Timberwolves, because he didn't take place in the Western Conference Finals last year. His team was in the Eastern Conference Finals, but unable to get it going. But when you think about what they were able to do last year and now integrating Randle into the mix, he's starting to become a part of their success.
Alexander Walker off the mark. Nickeil is at 5 consecutive games with multiple 3-pointers. Tough bucket that time by Bradley Beal.
And
Cuts the lead down to 13. They still have time, Corey.
There's definitely still time, and you get Kevin Durant back on the floor alongside Devin Booker and Bradley Beal. But it's going to have to start on this end of the floor defensively. You're going to have to get multiple stops and be able to turn it into great opportunities on the offensive end.
Bol on the bounce out to Durant. Step up screen from Richards. McDaniels right in Durant's chest. Boy, that is a slick finish by KD. Off glass, and Chris Finch sees what's happening there. The lead has been suddenly cut down to 11. Timeout, Minnesota.
NBA on ESPN is presented all season long by State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
A look at the former WNBA Rookie of the Year in 2004. 20 seasons later, Diana Taurasi announcing her retirement after 6 Olympic gold medals. Former WNBA MVP in 2009, Finals MVP twice, 5 scoring titles, and all those accolades. I love the attitude that came along with it. She was a fierce competitor.
Fierce competitor. I'm going to tell you honestly, though, for me, what got me with Diana Taurasi is seeing her stand at the top of the key with the ball palmed. She has mitts. Ball palmed in her hand as Ant-Man knocks down a huge three, a comeback three to stop the run from the Phoenix Suns. But seeing Diana stand at the top of the key with the ball in one hand palm, surveying the defense like, who am I going to pick on now? Love watching it.
Spent her entire 20-year career here in Phoenix with the Mercury. Bol with the short floater.
And when they name a street after you, you have left a legacy, my friend.
Hey, Diana, if you change your mind, call me. Call me, girl. Randle with the mid-range, off glass. And Julius Randle, after that hot start, is up to 20 now. Bol with the long 2. Rattles it home. Man, he's a talented player.
Yeah, both teams have picked it up offensively here, but when you're Phoenix, you can't continue to go basket for basket. You got to find a way to get some stops on this end of the floor to try to slow down the Timberwolves.
Ant was being held. Throw it up. It's been that kind of night for Ant-Man. Was pleading for a call, his palms skyward, and he threw it up with one hand.
That's a form shot, Jones. He just shot a form shot.
Beal a little bit short and couldn't get to his rebound. Let's take one more look at it. I mean, they were holding him like last month's rent.
This is the way they tell you to start off every workout. Shoot form shots. One hand form shot. Ant form proper is able to get it up once the foul. But once again, no conversation. Get the bucket. Goes back on defense.
Zipped it up. Not a word from him. He's got 37. His game is doing all the talking tonight. Reed goes tween, cross-step clinic, bucket, Naz Reed. And Minnesota has taken that hit, that 6-0 run, Corey, that Phoenix had a moment ago. Now seems like it happened 2 quarters ago.
Yeah, great timeout by Chris Finch to make sure that they were able to stem the tide. They come out of that timeout, knock down a 3, as KD does the same in the corner. But still a 13-point lead for Minnesota, who struggled in close games, so they don't want to allow Phoenix to get back into this one.
Randle sets the screen for Edwards, raises up. Online, but a little bit short. Anthony Edwards tonight, 11 of 20 from the field, including 5 threes. Got a whistle and a foul is going to go against Minnesota. That's going to be their 3rd team foul. 3rd personal foul on Naz Reed with 4:32 to go. Kevin Durant at the free throw line, who, if he makes a few more free throws this year before it ends, could be on 50-40-90 pace. Well, coming up next at Sports Center with Nicole Briscoe and Michael Eaves. Luka Doncic getting some things done with the Lakers, looking for their 6th consecutive win. Cleveland rocking tonight. And the Sports Center Awards. KD misses both foul shots.
I think I'm going to put that one on you, Joe.
Wow. Gotta finish your breakfast, especially when you're down 13. Edwards pulls it out against Durant. With between cross, looking to get it back. McDaniels pulls instead. And Richards clears defensively to finish the possession. Booker.
That's the stop they needed.
Durant underneath with the reverse.
And the bucket you need on the other end. And Chris Finch does not want to see another run. A quick timeout once again.
Uh-oh, Luka left the game after a red-hot start.
Who wants a $100 gift card to the Suns? Steve Jobs goes out here with 5 t-shirts with $100 gift cards to the team store. You want one, you gotta get loud. I said you gotta get loud. There's number 1. There goes 2. 3 to go, Suns fans. There's number 3. $100 to the team store.
There's a look at the standings in the Western Conference. Of course, the top 6 are in the playoffs. 7 through 10 participate in the play-in tournament. And Minnesota coming in number 9, Phoenix number 11. Interesting for context that Minnesota has the second easiest schedule remaining. Phoenix has the hardest, the most difficult schedule remaining.
If you look at the Suns, as they look to the next 8 games, it's all teams that are in front of them in those standings that we just watched. But you look at the difference between 6th and really 10. It's a 1-game win in the winning column, so it's an opportunity for all these teams to be able to make a run, but it's going to be based upon who's able to be the healthiest. Let's start with that, but more importantly, who has that sense of urgency to finish the season strong and get into that play-in tournament.
See what Minnesota runs out of this timeout. Chris Finch trying to recapture the momentum for Minnesota. Randall sets a screen for Edwards. Going to try and walk down Booker. Through the contact, no whistle, and standing there, Finch pleading with him to get back on defense. Phoenix gets the stop they needed. They blitz Booker. Durant, cross-court, bull, one more to Beal. 5 on the shot clock, good defense by DiVincenzo. Durant has to get rid of it, and they get the shot clock violation, but first, we've got a foul against Richards.
Jones, we talked about Brad Beal in the first half, no hesitation in catching and shooting. He gave up an opportunity on the offensive end to take a shot as we see the offensive foul. But this all happened because Brad does not take that 3 on the wing 3 seconds earlier in the possession.
Reed does take the 3. Been a tough shooting night for Naz Reid. Just 3 of 15, 1 of 8 from deep. 3 minutes to go in the ball game. Beal rims out to Randall.
But that's the shot you have to take. What created that? By drawing the double team in the rotation, someone has to be able to get out there. You have to take those shots. But at this point in the game, you now have to make those shots.
They run a little inverted pick and roll with Randall and DiVincenzo. McDaniels from the corner. Made one earlier. Yeah, good block out. KD on the push. Beal had it knocked away by Randall. Loose ball. Edwards retrieves it. 19 turnovers in the ball game for the Suns. And activating, raising up, Butter. Anthony Edwards in full effect. DiVincenzo with her, and Ant got held by the hand. And he'll get the benefit of the call this time, no doubt
and they're
about that one.
They're going to go and review this. Zach Zarba on his way over to the monitor.
And that's going to be the 5th 40-point game of the season. And that's Anthony Edwards pop clutch and was in full gear here, Corey.
I believe so. Off of another Phoenix turnover, Edwards able to get out in front of Brad Beal, and Brad, as he grabs the left arm, I believe that's going to be absolutely a clear path. Opportunity for Ant to free throw and get the basketball back.
Man, Ant with a 40 ball tonight on 12 of 22 from the field. One more look. Beal's pass went off of DiVincenzo's cranium that time. I mean, it was way off the mark, and it started the fast break.
Contact by Beal came after the ball was possessed by Edwards with no one between him and the basket. Clear path foul stands.
So yes, indeed, is a clear path foul. Anthony Edwards playing against his favorite player in the NBA, Kevin Durant, tonight. And Ant-Man having his way. That ties the franchise record for 40-point games.
And well, let me see, is that butterfly or the stanky leg? Which one was he doing at the free throw line right there? And feeling good about things right now.
He plays the game with a cherubic type of joy that is irrepressible. And that's why many people feel that whether he wants to be or not, he doesn't covet being the face of the league. It may find him. He doesn't have to look for it. Yeah, that might be a little.
See, we can't see
the bottom half might be butterfly.
I think that's more butterfly.
Yeah.
And of course we know, and from the A, there you go. Hit him again. That's it. That's a butterfly.
Well, it's not the bankhead bounce. We know that.
No, it's not.
2 minutes to go in the ball game. Anthony Edwards up to 42 on the meter. And he's feeling himself right now.
Well, he's having fun.
Yeah.
And again, you know, you're talking about someone who there's a lot of conversation regarding him as he drops another dime.
Yeah, he called it too. Looked at the crowd, said Dante's got that one. 112-93, Corey. 8 threes tonight for Dante DiVincenzo.
And now 21 turns. Uh-oh.
Showtime!
Oh! He hit his head. I think he hit his head on the side of the backboard.
Beal fouled him and went airborne. And from our angle, it looked like we were blocked, okay? But I think that Beal hit him in mid-flight. Yeah, he did. He did, and that's sometimes considered dangerous, Corey.
Yes, I believe that they're absolutely going to go over. And again, Brad and having a conversation with the Minnesota bench.
I mean, he achieved liftoff.
That could very well be flagrant 2 ejection.
Yeah. Yeah, Beal didn't want to be a part of that scene.
But partly because at that point, Ant is now vulnerable. He's in the air, and when you hit a airborne player in a vulnerable state like that, and Brad immediately went over to help him up afterwards. But again, Brad does not want to be a part of that.
Ruling on the floor is Phoenix basketball out of bounds. Minnesota is challenging the out of bounds. Approximate foul can be ruled here if we see illegal contact.
Oh, okay. They've got the new rule instituted this year, approximate foul. Anthony Edwards is apoplectic right now. He's a little bit upset, understandably so, after what just transpired. There is the foul. They are going to see a proximate foul on that out of bounds, because the rule allows for it now this year.
Yes, there will absolutely be a proximate foul, but the question becomes, is that a flagrant 1, flagrant 2 ejection? What will it be? Because I don't think you can just call this a common foul with Ant in air and vulnerable.
No.
And again, Brad goes over immediately and helps him up, and Ant accepts the hand.
Right.
And he does hit his head on the side of the backboard. I thought I saw that in live action.
Oh, he was flying private that time. But this is going to be, like you said, unnecessary is penalty 1. Unnecessary and excessive is penalty 2. There was clearly contact with Beal and Edwards while Edwards was airborne, as he's showing it right there.
After review prior to the out of bounds, Beal was deemed to two-hand push Edwards while in the air. This push was unnecessary to an airborne player with the potential for injury. Therefore, that play has been ruled a flagrant foul, penalty 1. It's a successful challenge for Minnesota. 2 shots in the basketball.
You're all over it, Corey.
Well, and I'm good with that. And honestly, the reason why I think it was a flagrant 1 is because as soon as Brad does it, he goes over and helps him up, right? Because if he walks away and then, of course, it's hostile, now that's a flagrant 2 ejection most likely. But he walks over, picks him up, and Ant accepts the hand. Ant is more concerned about the fact that there was no foul call on the play.
Yeah, he feels like he might have a few calls on layaway with the officials through the last couple of weeks. But you're right. His head almost collided with the edge of the backboard there. Well, it was so high.
Fortunately, he got the pad on the side of it. But again, now, here's the thing, too. Brad Beal has been in this league for a long time.
Right.
That's one of those plays. Is it a unwritten rule? Yeah. And we saw this. And I asked the question at the beginning, did he hit his head on the side of the backboard, which he absolutely did. But fortunately, the padding was there. But Brad isn't going to be the guy that's going to allow you to showboat at the end of the game. And again, that's one of those plays. I mean, we all love to see it as fans, but as an opposing team, you're not trying to have people do that on your home court.
Dillingham in the ball game, as is Minot. Edwards goes to the bench. His work and task completed for the night. With a minute 27 to go, Anthony Edwards finishing up with 44 points, 5 rebounds, and 7 assists. Dante DiVincenzo with 24 tonight, including 8 3-pointers. Dillingham, the rookie at the free throw line, the 6th man of the year out of the SEC, I believe, from Kentucky. This will be a nice close ending to a long and arduous road trip for the Minnesota Timberwolves.
And the Wolves been on the road about 8 days, but they said it feels like it's been much longer.
And of course, one of the signature wins, including this one, I think, will forever be that big comeback, that 20-odd point comeback against OKC in OKC when it looked like they were dead.
On a back-to-back.
Yeah.
Because they lost to OKC in Minnesota the night prior. This was started the road trip. But to be able to go to Oklahoma City and get that win, of course, and that's something that can pay dividends later, especially considering that you could possibly be in that 8th spot in the play-in, where we are pretty certain that the Thunder are going to be at #1.
Dunn with the reverse layup. This game really was broken open in the 3rd quarter. That huge 3rd period by Anthony Edwards had a lot of help from Dante DiVincenzo.
Yeah, you mentioned
the game was never the same after that.
It was. In that 3rd quarter, the Wolves hit 8 of 15 from 3. And so you think about those 2 guys, Dante DiVincenzo and Anthony Edwards were combined 6 of 9. And then you throw in another 2 of 2 from Jaden McDaniels, so made that a strong scoring 3rd quarter. However, they did the job defensively as what Chris Finch has asked of his team all season long.
Young players out there, just keep in mind that during a day when the Timberwolves had voluntary, quote-unquote, voluntary shoot-around, Anthony Edwards and Dante DiVincenzo were the 2 players by themselves in the gym at 9 a.m. this morning. They led the way. And that's it. Minnesota notches its 33rd win of the season. Anthony Edwards with a huge night. Bradley Beal had a nice line in his starting role with 18 points, but not nearly enough, as that's now the 7th consecutive win against Phoenix for Minnesota. 3 this year in the regular season, and of course the playoff sweep in 4 games last year, as they try to climb the Western Conference standings. Our final score once again, Minnesota 116, Phoenix 98. For Corey Alexander, George Sedano, and our entire crew, I'm Mark Jones. Thanks for watching this presentation of the NBA on ESPN. SportsCenter's next.